Hi, this is host Swapnil Bhartiya and welcome to another episode of TFR Let's Talk. And today we have with us Hiren Shah, chair of the Open Mainframe Project Zorow. Hiren, it's great to have you on the show.
Nice to see you, Swapnil.
Let's start with the basics. Tell me, what is the Zorow project all about? And also, if you can tell me, what is the story behind the name Zorow?
Yeah, so the story behind the name Zorow is Zorow stands for Z Open Repository of Workflow, right? So we abbreviated that and came up with the fancy name that maps to our Spanish character, right? So that's the story behind the Zorow. It stands for ZOS Open Repository of Workflow. Zorow project provides a community and GitHub repository for ZOS system programmers and product vendors to contribute and collaborate with ZOSMF workflows. The project is led by IBM Z customers and vendors along with IBM. Participation in this project is open. It's not bound to any corporate affiliation, though the participant has to follow the project's code of conduct. ZOSMF workflow in Zorow repository are made available under Apache 2 license. IBM, Kyndryl, and Rabobank have made initial contributions of ZOSMF workflow to this repository.
Can you talk about what was the need, or that will also help us explain what is the goal of this project, because you're talking about open repository of workflows. So let's just talk about that. What are you trying to achieve here?
Yeah, our first and most important goal is cross-team collaborations, enabling IBM customers and vendors to build and share common workflows for ZOS system management, configurations, and provisioning. Our next goal is to close the system programming skills gap. We have an issue over here that our system programmers, experienced system programmers, are retiring, and new system programmers are challenged to come on board fast. So we are providing ZOSMF workflow technology that enables senior system programmers to transfer their ZOS system programming skills and thereby attract and retain new system programmers without overwhelming them with underlying process and platform complexity. And finally, centralized repository of workflow provide access to vibrant ecosystems of ZOSMF workflows.
One problem that you mentioned is already, the seniority of the existing developers, and then you want to help hand over the baton to the next generation. That is one people challenge. If we look at this project, what are the other challenges that you have in your site that you want to deal with?
So other challenges that we have is the ZOS system management, the configuration and provisioning activities are really complex in nature. It requires high degree of system programming skills, right? And as these skills are disappearing, we need to make sure we provide a mechanism so that you can consolidate the tasks that are involved with specific ZOS management process in one centralized place, which is ZOSMF workflows. So these ZOSMF workflows help our system programmer to reduce the complexity of their current organization's system management processes and also enable them now to transfer those system management configurations and provisioning processes to the new early tenure staff, because they are consolidating their knowledge and process into one single place. And our customer and vendors needs to collaborate on building such ZOSMF workflows for system management configurations and provisioning activities. And Zorow is providing that community and a platform for such cross collaborations.
The project is in incubation phase. Can you explain what incubation means for this project? Because as you said, it is created by the community, which I assume also means that a lot of folks may already be using it in kind of production. So talk about what incubation means and what is the next step.
Yes, so Open Mainframe Project, right? When first they take the projects into the OMP space under Linux Foundation, they first want to make sure that the technology that we are providing or the goal for this project is achieving its mission, right? For our case, for ZOSMF workflows, we are currently in incubation phase, we are waiting on uptake, basically meaning more people collaborating on ZOSMF workflows. So right now we have IBM, Kyndryl, and Rabobank, and few vendors are contributing these workflows to their workflows to this community, but we are looking for higher level of collaborations, and once we start seeing that, we will open up the project and take it to the next phase from incubation to graduating it.
Excellent. Now, when we look at this community, there are, other Open Mainframe project, or there are actually projects outside of Open Mainframe as well that are being used. So can you talk about how does this specific Zorow project work with other Open Mainframe projects?
Yeah, so Zorow being part of Open Mainframe Project is enabling us to align with other Open Mainframe projects that are promoting open source code for ZOS, right? And we are leveraging other capabilities that are provided by Open Mainframe Project, which are like, for example, mail groups, right? So we leverage that to communicate regarding Zorow project and build ZOSMF workflow expertise in our community. And similar to other mainframe projects, member of Zorow community can also participate in bi-weekly Zorow Technical Advisory Council meetings and share their experiences and get guidance from other participants regarding ZOSMF workflows. So being part of Open Mainframe Project and aligning with other Open Mainframe Project, giving us the broader audience that we will look for to join our community and contribute ZOSMF workflows to our community.
Can you talk about, of course, the project is in incubation phase, but Linux Foundation, they have very good, structure for governance. So if I ask you, what kind of governance model are you planning for the Zorow project, or what kind of governance is there around the project?
As we are in currently incubation phase, but still we are accepting ZOSMF workflows into our GitHub repository, right? And in order to control, we have good governance process in place, whereby you don't need to be associated with any, as I said, with any corporate affiliation. But if you have a ZOSMF workflow, you can submit the workflows to our GitHub repository. There are team members which consist of IBM and non-IBM who would look at the pull request that you submitted with your ZOSMF workflow into the GitHub, and after reviewing the pull request and verifying the purpose of the ZOSMF workflow matches with what the documentation they have provided along with the workflow, we accept that pull request and make it part of our Zorow GitHub repository.
What kind of community is there around Zorow project? After all, it's a subsection, sub-community of the larger Open Mainframe project. But talk about, what kind of folks are building it.
Open Mainframe project has both Linux aspect as well as ZOS open source aspect. So for Zorow, as it stands for ZOS Open Repository of Workflows, the main contributions that are coming into this community is ZOSMF workflows. So the system programmers, ZOS system programmers who wanted to simplify their day-to-day system management activity, they would build this ZOSMF workflow and contribute that workflow to our community. Thereby, other vendors, other clients, other ZOS customers would be able to take advantage of this pre-built ZOSMF workflow and add on top of it their own institutional knowledge if they need to, their own organization characteristics that needs to be part of this ZOSMF workflow, and they will customize it, right? Because one customer's ZOSMF workflow may not be directly usable in other customers' environment, but having some standard process defined in this ZOSMF workflow and having capability in ZOSMF workflow for customization, we will be able to achieve that goal, that we can create the common set of workflows for such specific system management activity and then various customers can leverage that common workflows.
What kind of roadmap do you have for this project? Of course, it's an open source project, everybody can go and check. But if I ask, what are the things that you plan to work on next as it moves out, you plan to move it out of incubation and graduation or whatever, phase you're looking at. So talk about the roadmap.
Our current challenge is to attract additional participants in our community. So from roadmap perspective, we are basically educating our ZOS customers that we have this Zorow community available in Open Mainframe Project space. You can go there and pick up the workflows that are already contributed in a Zorow community for any specific system management activity you want to perform. For example, if you want to provision a new DB2 subsystem, we have a very sophisticated workflow that is contributed by IBM in a Zorow repository. You can look at that and build your or provision your DB2 subsystem using this workflow, right? And if you have your own workflows that you're building, please go and contribute that workflow. So we are spreading that message currently. That's our first step, right? And as we start seeing uptake, that more customers are contributing that workflow, they're participating in our mail groups, right? That would be our next phase. We wanted to have that engagement with additional customers and vendors to join our mail groups and participate in our bi-weekly discussions and share their workflows into the Zorow community. So those are the two main things: spreading the information about Zorow and then eventually having more customer and vendors participate in our community.
Hiren, thank you so much for taking time out today and talk about the Zorow project, of course, the roadmap, the challenges that you are trying to tackle. And, there are so much to discuss about the project, so I'd love to have you back on the show. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me here. Appreciate that.